So welcome to day 3 of our 30 days challenge in HackerRank, and today we are going to be talking about conditional statements. Now we have an objective and a task, input format, constraint, output format. So let's see how it goes. This is also going to be easy because the difficulty right here you can see is easy. And I also want to say, if you are joining for the first time, please subscribe to my channel. If you have challenges, let me know in the comment box below. So let's get started. Now we have, in this challenge, we learn about conditional statements, and we have to check the tutorial tab for learning materials and instructional video. The task says, now pay attention to this. Given an integer n, perform the following conditional actions. If n is odd, print word. If n is even and inclusive, and the inclusive range of 2 to 5, print not word. If n is even and in the inclusive range of 6 to 20, print word. If n is even and is greater than 20, print not word. We have to complete the code provided in the editor. Now, what I normally do is to analyze a bit what is happening here. So permit me to just copy this to my board. So let's paste it right here, and then let's see. Let me just explain to you the best way to fix this. All right, so what you need to do in this case, you need to first start with the biggest one. So in this case, we have, if n is odd, print word. But we have 20 is missing here. So we have 20 here. We have, this is 2 to 5, and this is 6 to 20. Okay, so let's start with if n is odd, or if n is even. So those are two things. So if n is odd, we print word, if I can get it correctly. Okay, so this is if n is odd. Now if we put an else statement here, every other thing that comes here is when n is even. So you can see it's even here, it's even here, it's even here. So in this case we have, if n is even, in this case we are going to say if n is in range, in this case it's range 2 to 5, now it's going to be not word. In the other case is going to be, let me just write it, and then we have to print not word. So instead of writing here, let me just go and type it out, and I think that may just be clearer. So let's go down here and let me type it out right here. So the first condition we want to test is if n is odd. So to check if n is odd, we are going to divide n by 2 and check if there is a remainder. If there is a remainder, then n is odd. So I'm going to say n mod 2. If n mod 2 is not equal to 0, then that means that n is odd, and I'm going to print word. Okay, so at this point, whatever comes here is going to be n is even. So what it means, we are not going to continue to check if n is even. So I'm now going to check, in this case, the first thing I'm going to check for the even range is the inclusive range of 2 to 5. So I'm going to say if n in range, this is a Python syntax, from 2 to 5. However, the range operator is not inclusive of the last element or of the last parameter. So I'm going to say 6. In that case, I have 2 to 5. And in this case, I'm going to print not word. I think that was a print not word. Okay, so the next one is if n in range. In this case, we are saying range 5 to 20. But since we are talking about Python here, it's going to be 5 to 21. So in this case, we have 5 to 20 because 21 is not included in the range function. So I'm going to print, so when n is in range 5 to 20, we are going to print word. So I'm going to print word. Okay, so this is fine. And finally, the next one says if n is greater than 20, print not word. So we can also say if n is greater than 20, and we are just going to print not word. All right. So I think at this point we've covered everything. So let's try to run it to see what we have. So I'm going to just run this code and let's see. So the first sample test case is passed. I'm going to submit this code and let's see if it works. All right, so it seems everything was fine, and I'd like to thank you for viewing, and remember to subscribe, like, and share, and we see you in the next challenge.